Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSM Arena. We already reviewed the Mi 10 Pro 5G pretty much in full detail, but we saved the camera for this video. It's a great phone, but its camera setup is basically the same as the upper mid-range Mi Note 10. Can these cameras compete against those of the top flagships? Let's have a look. The Mi 10 Pro's camera system is the most advanced yet from Xiaomi. There are 4 cameras, a 108-megapixel quad-Bayer main cam, a 12-megapixel 2x telephoto, an 8-megapixel 5x telephoto, and a 20-megapixel ultrawide camera which has autofocus. The main camera bins pixels 4 in 1 here to output 25-megapixel photos, in contrast to Samsung's 9 in 1 setup. That doesn't mean these are inferior, just different. These shots are impressive, with abundant detail, super wide dynamic range, spot-on colors, and basically no noise. Compared to the Galaxy S20 Ultra or Huawei's P40 Pro, we would say that during the day the Mi 10 Pro gives you the best resolve detail and most accurate colors from its main camera. One of the main benefits of having this large sensor is that it provides you with a naturally shallow depth of field, which you can use for some artsy shots. It is possible to shoot in the full 108 megapixels. These come out okay, but are noisy, have a large file size, and the benefit in detail really isn't there. The 20-megapixel ultra-wide camera shoots detailed photos with very good dynamic range, great contrast, and accurate colors. Since it has autofocus, it can be used to take close-up photos with a dedicated macro mode. The output isn't very consistent, so you should take some backup shots just in case. Now let's talk about the zoom cameras. For 2x zoom, you'll be using the 12-megapixel telephoto cam. Its photos are great, with wide dynamic range, good sharpness and detail, and colors that match the output of the main cam. This is also the camera that is used to shoot portrait mode shots. These are amazing. The edge detection around the subject is great, even around the hair. To zoom in further, the Mi 10 Pro uses its 8-megapixel long-range telephoto cam. This one actually has a native 3.7x zoom, and achieves its advertised 5x zoom through a crop of the sensor and upscale back to 8 megapixels. Still, these 5x 8 megapixel photos are very good. Their detail is not the best we've seen, a result of the upscaling perhaps, but the pictures exhibit superb contrast, consistently accurate colors, and low enough noise levels. We also snapped some photos at 10x zoom. These are poor in detail and are simply upscaled and cropped from the original. As far as zoom goes, the Mi 10 Pro 5G is one of the best around. We would say that it only falls short of the P40 Pro, which gets better results from its periscope telephoto camera. Now let's see how the Mi 10 Pro does at night. The main camera's 25-megapixel photos are great. They're quite detailed and bright, with balanced exposure and good color saturation. Compared to some of the competition though, you may notice that the Mi 10 Pros aren't quite as sharp, though the overall quality is comparable. The main camera supports night mode, but it doesn't provide much benefit over the regular shots. Ideally, it may restore some blown highlights, but that's rare, and it comes at the expense of added softness. Switching to the ultra-wide at night results in a blurry mess, which is dark and barely usable. This is one area in which the Mi 10 Pro really falls short of its competitors like the P40 Pro. At 2x zoom, the phone prefers to use a crop of the main camera. However, in some better lit situations, the 12-megapixel telephoto may kick in, resulting in a sharp and detailed, yet noisy photo. For 5x zoom, the 8-megapixel telephoto cam is always used. Its low-light photos are great. There is enough detail and sharpness, and the colors are kept true to life. This is the best we've seen for this zoom level at night, as most cameras prefer to do it digitally. Now on to selfies from the 20-megapixel front-facing camera. It's a quad-Bayer one, but the photos actually come out in the native resolution. These are decent, but nothing too impressive as far as sharpness is concerned. You can use selfie portrait mode to achieve a blurred background. Subject isolation is pretty convincing here. If you take video with a selfie cam, you're limited to 1080p resolution. It's too bad, since there are a lot of flagships that offer 4K with the front-facing cam. You won't find this limitation on the rear cameras though. On the contrary, the Mi 10 Pro supports video capture from the main cam in 8K at 30 FPS. This mode isn't very practical though. The file size is huge, and the benefit in detail over 4K isn't that impressive. The main cam's 4K videos, on the other hand, are every bit worth it. They have excellent contrast, spot-on colors, and pleasing dynamic range. The resolve detail is very good, though the fine details can occasionally get a bit smudgy. 4K videos from the 12-megapixel 2x telephoto cam are also great. They have excellent dynamic range, great contrast, and accurate colors. Sharpness is alright. Just note that the 8-megapixel long-range telephoto can't take videos, so any further zoom will just be digital. You can capture 4K video with the ultrawide camera too, and these are also excellent. Detail is nice, and there's good contrast and pleasing colors. Dynamic range is superb too, if you're shooting at 30 FPS. There is an option for 4K macro videos, which also come from the ultrawide camera. Quality is comparable, but you don't get electronic stabilization in this mode. Speaking of stabilization, there's OIS on the main cam and EIS available on all of the cameras, if you're shooting at 30 FPS. If enabled, at the expense of a minor loss of the field of view, you will get nicely stabilized footage. So there you have it guys, the Mi 10 Pro 5G has a killer camera setup that is every bit flagship worthy. It really excels in daylight. Stills from the main cam, portraits, and zoom shots look fantastic. And at night, the phone's main cam and long-range telephoto do a great job as well. When we compared to some other flagships, the Mi 10 Pro held its own, or even came out on top in nearly every situation. It's mainly just the low-light ultra-wide shots that really fall short. And the P40 Pro has a better 5x zoom because of its periscope camera. But overall, if you're looking for a camera phone, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend the Mi 10 Pro 5G. If you're interested, you can find out even more about it in our main video review. Thanks for watching guys, stay safe, and see you on the next one.